Hello and welcome to Testing Shastra. This is Avinash, and in this video we are going to talk about the star pattern. It is the most sought after interview question which has been asked for the automation testers as well as for the developers to write a program to draw a star pattern. So this kind of pattern may come in front of you in the interview room. So how to solve this kind of interview question? So we have to write a program to draw this pattern. So first we need to understand what this pattern is and how we can draw this. Okay. So if I divide this pattern in a table, then you can see that there are 4 rows over here. I'm roughly drawing 4 rows. In the very first row, I have only one asterisk. So I need to figure out the relationship between the entities which I am seeing in this particular pattern. So first I have a line. Okay, line numbers. This is line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, and line number 4. Okay, so there is a line and then there is asterisk. Okay, there is an asterisk. So the relationship becomes on a line 1, I have one asterisk. On line 2, I have two asterisks. On line 3, I have three asterisks. And on line 4, I have four asterisks. But if you observe this closely, then you will come to know that if this is my virtual console over here, let's consider that this is a console. Okay, and on console, I want to print this output. So from starting of the console, there are certain spaces over here. So if you observe closely, you will find 1, 2, and 3 spaces are there. Okay, on line 1, there are 3 spaces. Okay, on line 2, we have 2 spaces. Whereas on line 3, we have 1 space, and line 4, we have 0 spaces. So there are 3 entities in this entire pattern which are going to be iterate. Okay, so as we have 3 different entities which are going to iterate, then obviously we are going to write 3 for loops. Okay, how the structures of for loop are going to be, that we'll discuss later. But right now we are figuring out that how much for loops are required to solve this problem. So there are 3 for loops required because we have to iterate line, asterisk, and space. Okay, so first let us see that which for loop we will write first. So initially if you observe, then we are typing the space. Okay, that means we are iterating the space. That means we will write a for loop to iterate the spaces. Okay, we will write a for loop to iterate the spaces. So let us start writing this for loop first. Okay, so I'll simply quickly open the Eclipse and I'll create a Java project and I'll give it name as pattern, and I'll create a class but in a new package. Star patterns. Okay, and star patterns. This is the name of class. Okay, and I'm simply going to write a main method in which I'll be creating this pattern. So here I'll write the very first for loop. Okay, and here I'll mention int I, or I'll give a variable name as space. Okay, and if you observe closely here, okay, the spaces are starting from, there are 3 spaces, so we can start our spacing from maybe 0 or 1 or whatever you want, but I'll start it from 3. Then I'll check whether space is first of all, we have lines, right? So we need to write a loop to iterate the lines. Okay, so I'll say int line is equal to 0 and line less than equal to 3, then line plus plus, because we want 4 lines. So we are iterating from 0 up to 3. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. 4 lines will be drawn. And inside this for loop, we are going to write a for loop for spaces. Okay, for loops for spaces, simple. So I'll simply iterate this space up to the line numbers because there is a significant relationship between spaces and line. If you observe, there are 3 spaces on line 1, okay, 2 spaces on line 2, 1 space on line 3, and 0 spaces on line 4. So simply I'll start from 3 and I'll iterate till, you know, uh, the space is greater than line. Okay, I'll consider greater than equal to. Why, I'll tell you later. We will debug this program on pen and paper so that we will understand that what this program is actually doing. And I'll simply write space minus minus, and here I'm going to write system.out.print, not print ln actually, because we want spaces on the same line. That's it. So this for loop will iterate the spaces. Okay. The second thing that we require is, we already have written a for loop for line, one for loop for line, it is done. Okay, we have written the second for loop for a space. The third thing comes is the asterisk. Now there is a relationship between asterisk and line. Okay, line and asterisk are following the same order. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a for loop outside the space for loop. Why? Because after finishing the spaces we are going to type or print the asterisk. That is why I'm writing it outside the space for loop. Okay, and I'll call it as int asterisk, and I'll start it from 1 and I'll iterate it till line, okay, less than equal to line, and then asterisk plus plus. Sorry, not I, but asterisk here. Okay, that's it. And I'll simply write system.out.print, again, not print ln, make sure this. And here we need to type asterisk, okay. And after completion of this for loop, we need to print the new line, okay. But there is still one problem in this program. Okay, let us first see that what output it yields, and then we will discuss about the problem and the solution. Okay, so this is the simple program that we have. 3 for loops. First is the outer for loop closing over here, and this outer for loop has 2 for loops inside it. One for space and the other for asterisk. Okay, let us save this and run it. Okay, if you observe closely, you will find that, here there is one line appearing up, and 1, 2, 3 asterisks are appearing which are very close to one another, but we want a spaces in between them. So we need to observe this particular pattern, and you will see that there is one space over here. In front of every asterisk, there is one space in front of every asterisk. Okay, so we need to add one space over here in front of asterisk. Okay, now let us try to run this program one more time, and that's it. Can you see this? But we are getting only 1, 2, and 3 levels of asterisks over here. So let us try to debug this program on pen and paper. Okay, so that method is really effective if you are writing a program. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll simply create a new document here, and then maybe text I'm going to add like this. Sorry. Okay, I'll move it a little bit here. Perfect. Okay, this is the program that we have, and let us start debugging the program. So it is not allowing me to write down up here. Okay, Control Z, and I'll simply type it here and maybe here. Close. Okay, perfect. So let us debug this program on pen and paper. So on the very first line, I have created a variable called as line, and it is 0 initially, and then I'm jumping on to this line, okay, where I'm checking whether 0 is less than or equal to 3 or not. Yes, it is. Then obviously we are going to enter inside this for loop where we have created another variable called as space, whose initial value is equal to 3, and we are comparing this 3 whether it is greater than or equal to line or not. Then obviously yes, it is greater than. Okay, so we are going to go inside this loop and we are going to print a space. So consider that this is our console. So we have printed one space over here, and after printing a space, what we are doing is, so let me simply draw the curly brackets which we missed here. Okay, and after printing this, it is closed up here, opened and closed like this. Okay, then we are going to print as one space over here, and then obviously this space will become 2 because it is not ended up at first. This inner for loop is not ended, so it becomes 2, and it will again check with 2 greater than line or not. Yes, it is greater than. Then obviously it will print a space over here, and again space will go on decreasing and it will become 1. Again I will check whether 1 is greater than equal to line or not. Then obviously yes, it is greater, and the space will be printed up. Then it will become 0. In this case 0 is greater than equal to line, yes, so it will print a space, and again space will become -1. So once the space becomes -1 over here, this comparison will fail. And after failing this comparison, this for loop will be ended, and we will enter into the another for loop, that is asterisk for loop, where we have created ast variable again, and its value is set to 1. Okay, now we are checking whether 1 is less than equal to 9 line or not. So current value of line is 0, and we are checking whether 1 is equal to less than equal to 0 or not. So this comparison becomes fail. Okay, and that is why we are not printing asterisk on the very first line, and we are jumping onto the new line. So that is why our program will jump onto the new line, and from here again the loop will start executing. So line will be incremented here because this is the outer for loop. Okay, this is where our outer for loop is ending up. So line will go on plus plus and line will become 1. Okay, again we are going to create a new variable space over here whose value is 3. So all previous values obviously will be vanished from here. Okay, and again space will become 3. Again space will become 3. Okay, then again we are going to compare 3 is greater than equal to line. Current value of line is 1, so 3 is greater than equal to 1. Yes, true. That is why we are going to print a space. Again 3 will become 2. 2 is again greater than equal to 1. We are going to print a space. Again it will become 1, and 1 is greater than equal to 1. Yes, it is true. We will print one more space and it will become 0. Once it becomes 0, the current value of line is 1. So 0 is greater than equal to 1 becomes false. And once this becomes false, obviously our loop will end and we will jump into the next for loop, that is the second for loop. Here again we are going to print the asterisk because ast value becomes 1 over here, and 1 is less than equal to line. Current value of line is 1 obviously, so this becomes true. In this case we are going to print and space plus asterisk. Okay, here space plus asterisk. This is what we are going to print over here. Then again asterisk will go on increment and it will become 2, and it will again compare 2 less than equal to current value of line, that is 1. This becomes false. Okay, and we are going to come out of this for loop, and here new line will be printed. So we will jump onto the new line. So this is how our program will continue, and it will print something like this. Okay, on the very next iteration like this. But if you observe over here, the first line is just wasted up. Why? Because in the very first iteration this condition has become fail, because we are checking asterisk and line over here. Okay, whereas line is starting from 0 and asterisk is starting from 1. But as we have seen in the relationship, that asterisk and line should go hand in hand, so they should be exactly similar. So I'll be starting it from 0 and then less than equal to line. That's it. That is the fix to this program. And yes, we got this printed over here. Pretty simple. So that's it. If you face any difficulty or problem in understanding this video, please drop your questions or queries in the comment box. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.